Hey guys, welcome back. I'd like to introduce you to our newest member of our family. This is Freya. She's currently a month old. Hi, are you 1 month old today? Are you 1 month old? 1 month. She's 1 month today. Oh my goodness, 1 month. Yeah. She has been the reason why I haven't been filming as much. However, that is all going to change. Say hi. So Freya's due date was September 9th. However, some doctors were saying it was the 8th. So it was really weird. Someone told me it was the 8th. Someone told me it was the 9th. I went to it was like this rotating OB center. Basically, you got whoever was on call. So it was like this small group of doctors, and when you went into labor, it'd be whoever was on call. However, I didn't get any of the ones that I met. But because I had to have a C-section, my C-section was scheduled for September 1st. However, she did not make it to that, which we didn't think that she would because Sebastian was early. Now, I'm going to dive into my full birth story. If you guys wanted to hear Sebastian's, I do have that on my channel as well. So go check that out. Hers is definitely different than Sebastian. Freya is named after the Norse goddess of love, if you guys didn't know that. And she ended up being born on August 18th, 2023. So she is a Leo. She's going to be joining me in a lot of videos because she does not like being put down at all. August 18th. I started thinking that I was having some back labor pains. However, they are like contractions. However, they weren't consistent. They didn't last. It was like around dinner time that I started feeling it. So since they didn't last, I was like, oh, this isn't real contractions, because real contractions, they're not going to go away. They're just going to keep getting stronger, right? So we got Sebastian down to sleep. He had just fallen asleep. I had laid down. I had turned on Paramount Plus. We were going to watch the spin-off of Dexter because we hadn't seen it yet. So Jeff and I were going to watch that. And I literally just laid down. And I felt this warm pool. There's this really warm pool of liquid all around me, gushing out of me. And I was like, oh my gosh, either my water just broke or there's blood. Like, there's just... So I was like, I yelled to Jeff because he hadn't walked back in yet. And I was like, I think my water just broke. I was like, or at least I hope it just broke, because I would rather that than a pool of blood, obviously. So he ran in and he's like, are you sure? I was like, and I stood up after there was like tons of water, and he's like, what do I do? And what do you need me to do? What do you need? I was like, towels? And let me tell you guys that when your water breaks, which in most cases your water doesn't even break on its own, usually, more often than not, it's going to break in the hospital, or like where they have to break it for you. And it's not as common for your water to break and you not to have like actual real contractions happening. So it was a lot. I was impressed, actually, that I had lost that much liquid and was still alive because it was so much. And so I call the on-call because you have to let them know that you are going in, and so they can have someone there to deliver. Called, and the receptionist, I was like, I think my water just broke. She was like, okay, I'll have a doctor call you back. And I was like, shouldn't I go to a hospital? And she goes, I'm not a doctor, so I can't tell you that. And I was like, well, it's not this little amount of liquid, so I think I should probably go to the hospital. And she goes, well, I'll tell them that you're on your way. And I was like, okay, good. I went to the hospital. We had to go in through the emergency center because it was really late at night. It was like 10 something, I think, at night. So we went in. We got up to the deliveries floor, and at that point we had Sebastian with us. So we get in the room. I get in the gown. I'm still pouring out liquid, and I lay down. They put the IV in. They put a catheter in without me being numb, which not a pleasant feeling. And then they're like, okay, well, you're gonna have the C-section, and you have to sign all these papers when you have a C-section. So I signed all the papers, and I had to have another C-section because I have a bicoordinate uterus. And when you have when you have a C-section, your like first delivery with a bicoordinate uterus, it can cause a lot of complications if you tried to have like a vaginal birth after. I was like, well, you know, I want less complications, so I'll just have another C-section. We're trying to figure out somebody to come and watch Sebastian so, you know, Jeff can be in the room with me and he doesn't miss Freya's birth. And I look at the nurses and I'm like, okay, like how long until, you know, I go in the room? Because with Sebastian, I was there like 5-6 hours before having the C-section. So I didn't know, but then now like my water broke. So I know that there's less time. And they're like, you're going to have her within the hour. I was like, okay. So at this point, Jeff's brother was going to come and take Sebastian for the delivery. But I didn't know if he was going to make it on time. Like, we didn't know. So then I get wheeled into the room, or like I'm on like the stretcher. Not the stretcher. I'm on the bed. And I'm still in the bed. They're wheeling me into the room. And like, you know, they're putting the medications in my IV and stuff. And the anesthesiologist looks at me and goes, is daddy coming in? And I was like, hopefully. Because at that point, I didn't know if he was going to be able to. And luckily, he did. His brother got there on time. We're so grateful for him. And so we get in there, or he gets in there. I had already thrown up. And I threw up a few times during my C-section, which was horrible. Now, during the C-section with Sebastian, I was not very alert. I was very sleep deprived. I had been dealing with pain for like a day and a half. So I was very out of it, and it was very hazy. This time, I was so alert. I remember getting my arm stretched down. I was throwing up. I, you know, remember when she came over to me and they like held her against me and stuff. And I was just, and I mean, I think I would prefer to be more alert than out of it, but it was just an incredibly different experience. And I remember because I had anemia. I was anemic during my pregnancy. And when you're anemic, there's an increased chance of you bleeding out during labor. And with a C-section, you're going to lose more blood. So I was terrified going into the C-section. And I remember saying goodbye to Sebastian, and I had to hold back tears and I'm going to make it back, because I was really worried that I wasn't going to be able to. Got me into the room after, and I was still holding her, and it was this really small room. With Sebastian, we were in this huge room after, but with Freya, we were not. And I had to stay by myself because we had Sebastian, and we didn't have anybody to watch him overnight. Like, he's only used to staying with somebody for a couple hours if he does stay with somebody, and it's not often that he does. So I was by myself a lot in the hospital. So I was really pushing to get out of the hospital as quick as possible. I also don't like hospitals. And I was at the same hospital that I was at with, I was at the same hospital that my dad went into when he had to be put on the ventilator and when he was recovering, and the last hospital he was at before he passed. So there's not super pleasant memories with going to this hospital. Not that they did anything wrong, they were great. And I had a really good experience at this hospital with my pregnancy. Everybody was so caring. Everybody was so nice. The nurse, because I was there by myself, I was so exhausted, and she actually took Freya at night, and did her feedings for me so that I could sleep, because I couldn't sleep at all. I was just so exhausted, and I was recovering from a major surgery, and I was there completely by myself. And then Jeff's dad and his fiance had taken Sebastian the following day for 5 hours, so Jeff could just spend time with myself and Freya and help me out, because this time the recovery was actually a lot easier because I got up moving so quickly. And with my first one, I didn't get up as quick after the C-section, so it was a lot harder. I feel like I was in a lot more pain, but I was in a lot of pain this time. It was hard doing everything for the most part by myself. And I had Sebastian. Jeff helped me with everything, and I didn't have him there this time. So when I took a shower, it was, for the first time, it was by myself. When I was getting up to go to the bathroom, it was by myself. And that was really hard. But I think ultimately me doing it by myself made the recovery a lot easier, because I was pushing myself more and enduring that pain at first, so that I just really wanted to get home, because I was Sebastian's at home. This is the longest I've ever been away from him. And second longest I've ever been away from him. But, I stay home with him. I'm a stay-at-home mom. So I'm home with him every day. And so he's not used to that. I'm not used to that. And personally, I don't enjoy that. So I don't enjoy being away from him, especially for long periods of time. So I just wanted to be home. I wanted to be where I could get help from Jeff, and just in the comfort of my own home. I was only there, I went in around 10 something on, or 9, between 9, probably between 9:30 and 10 on, no, it wasn't between 9:30 and 10. Maybe a little after 10 on the 18th. I left Sunday at 10 a.m. or something like that. So So we are home and Freya's sleeping. And I feel very sleep deprived. And yeah, she's all healthy. I'm healing. And we're just trying to figure out the new normal, I guess. Sebastian definitely seems like he loves her. But he went from being an only child to having a little sister that can't do anything and a mom who is recovering from major surgery. So he's definitely adjusting. And we've been trying to have Luna not really jump. So, but at this time, it was such a completely different experience. The way that I went into labor was incredibly different. Even the C-section in general was completely different. Sebastian had to be in the NICU. Freya didn't. So it was surreal having her in the hospital room with me, where I could just hold her whenever I wanted to. She has little unicorn booties on. Sebastian loves her so much. It is adorable to see. He's still working on the, being gentle, don't throw things around her, and he does pretty good for the most part, but it's still an adjustment. But yeah, that's my birth story. It's definitely been a lot, and just the adjustment between going from one kid to two kids, and we don't have, you always hear from, that, raising kids takes a village, and we don't have a village, really, for the most part. Not that we don't have people that ever, help us or that don't ever come around, but for the most part, it's Jeff and I. And it's draining and exhausting. And sometimes you feel like, how can I do this? But it's so rewarding. Just all the different things that you get to experience with your children and those memories that you're making, even though, you're going to have hard times. Just seeing how excited they are when you walk through the door, how much love you feel when they hug you goodnight, or even just, her crying when she's in her swing and picking her up and she instantly stops because you're her safety. And that's an incredible feeling. And I can't wait to see who they become. So I hope you guys enjoyed my birth story for Freya. Like I said, if you guys haven't checked out Sebastian's birth story yet, go check that out. And I will be going back to filming a lot more paranormal stuff, as well as some vlogs. But I am going to be going back to the main focus of my channel, which is paranormal. Oh, she was born at 11:40. She was born at 11:48 on September 18th p.m. Or not September, August 18th. So you were almost an August 19th baby. Yeah, almost. But make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of our vlogs or any of the paranormal videos. And until next time, I love you guys. Bye.